We on?
Yes.
Okay, folks, everybody who's here and everybody who's tuned in, we're at the Robeson Township Park and Recreation meeting. Today is March 24th, and it's 6 p.m. We're not at the normal municipal building. We are in the offices. Our municipal offices, not the normal meeting room. So, with that, I don't know what time it is exactly, but
It is 5:52, so
we have a few
we'll start in
minutes.
a few minutes.
So plug for the next open board member.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
told.
Please do.
Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Yep.
Can you see? Come over here. Can we have?
Yep, we're good.
Can we see everything, John?
I think so.
You go first.
I'm Becky Rimby. I am chairperson of the Park and Rec Board.
Yep, Jeff Bold. I'm vice chair Park and Rec Board. We have an opening still for a person, so please, if you have time, please volunteer to support your township.
And
I'm Lisa Easter. I don't know where the camera is.
I'm just up here.
Hiding.
Yes.
I think I might want to add to that these are unpaid positions and they're volunteer positions. If you can find it upon some time to come out and help, certainly the board would be most appreciative.
Yep.
So I see an agenda here. Do you know if this was posted on the website?
That's a follow-up question.
Whatever your, sorry?
Was this posted on the website? What's the question?
Oh, yes, yes.
It's on the website?
Yeah. So
It's
the
on the website.
only thing that's actually on the agenda, since it is technically a special meeting, is the chatting page decision. So
There's a seat there, Lisa.
We're good. Yeah, we have one more.
one more that we're waiting for.
Waiting for Mr. Dr. Lehman,
Yes.
I should say.
Doctor.
Dr. Lehman. When are the dates for Cloudville Field?
Saturday.
Okay.
Last Saturday.
That's
Last
not
night.
pretty Saturday.
Well, previous, yes. Now I do know they only did Plowville, so I'm not sure what I'm not sure I did.
Who's Walter?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I did come down because they didn't have a specific sign up for. They usually have like specific sign ups for. So I'm gonna get in contact with Steve tomorrow.
Okay.
After this, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah.
To see what
I
their
have some information.
plan was. Yeah.
So that's what I sent.
Awesome, this is great. How was the conference?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in case you're
Lots of
curious,
information. So we're gonna
we're starting to
put our own thoughts together
track
and
the-
then
so everything
present
different.
at the May
So
meeting.
this is our current task list, and the goal is to have a shared. Well, I'm not going to talk about it now. It's for the meeting now.
Agreed.
What are the rules?
It's on your agenda, isn't it?
No.
This is just this is above and beyond.
Okay.
So stick to the agenda.
No, it's not, the meeting hasn't commenced, so you can
Okay.
talk whatever
I'm
you
just
want to
making sure I'm
imagine.
putting your rules here. So we are going to start building a shared drive with everything that has everything on there that individual has. Right? So if anybody has any questions about what the stance of this, what the future plans, and we've been talking, we have some really good ideas going forward.
So Brian,
That's smart too, so
Yeah.
then you can do like a report.
I got it.
Lisa?
Well, that's for me.
Okay.
You want me,
That's it for Brian.
Here, a copy and paste them.
yeah, because then you can always do a
Thank you.
report at the end of the year too as well.
Just a
So Mr. Miller,
task tracking that we put together with projects that we've completed in the last year and what's on the agenda.
so
It's our
goal-
wish list.
Yeah, well, this is our tracking for what we're doing now. Our goal is to document everything, so if anybody, board or anybody else, Mr. Howard, anybody else,
Yep.
just say what's going on, what's your current status, and jump online and take a look at it. It'll be as open and visible as possible. This is just 2025. There's a second sheet of thinking ahead. It's kind of like a 1 year, 3 year, 7 year plan type thinking as far as that goes.
Yep.
Based on budget, based on what comes in as far as that goes. But I just want to give you guys this as a starter. And then we can discuss options of, we talked about this before, the shared drive.
Right.
Like,
So I can update you quickly on that. So I know we're not really in the meeting at this point, but and really the focus tonight is the decision on the batting cage, so we can get that ball rolling for our next board supervisors meeting.
Right.
So with that, I'm not gonna use the servers or the email here, so it does cost us something every time we do that.
Okay.
So we could look at a Google Drive. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that.
Right.
We're not talking about information which would be, again, we're talking about public information, so it might best reside in a place where other people could access it.
That's my goal.
So I would go with the Google Drive on that, and then go from there.
Okay.
So, again, I looked into it. If we reside on the server here, again, it would have to be controlled access, and it's also finances. We'll
Okay.
talk about an email address. Now, what I could do, and I've done this before, we could get a distribution list created. That doesn't cost me anything. So the distribution list, what would happen, let's say somebody wants, you want to have a Park and Rec's distribution line, I would put all of your emails in that, and then when somebody emails into you, it would automatically, anyone, it's like, hey, I have an idea for Parks and Rec, or I want to do such and such.
Right.
That would go to all of you simultaneously.
Yeah, could you do that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because with the Google Drive, you get an email, but I'm hesitant to use that because it's not trackable by you.
Correct.
There's no visibility to that. That's my concern.
Yes, no,
Okay.
understood.
Okay.
And that one would be, I would own the drive, if you will, or the,
Brian's
Or
gonna
the-
be here momentarily.
okay, or that distribution list,
Right.
but it would be very simple to just.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be the carbon copy on it, like I get to see it in the background, it would really be for you to.
Right. Right. A lot of, as we engage other townships more, we get more of, do you have a card? How do you get a hold of you? I'd rather centralize it for that. If
It's
we
one
get something-
everybody.
Right, exactly, right. In case something, let's say Lisa gets something, maybe you miss it, maybe I miss it, I'd rather go through a central channel so we don't lose anything.
The other advantage is people change, it's very
Right.
easy for for us to change who's on that distribution list.
Mhm.
That's a lot easier to manage than individual
I don't
email
always know
addresses.
who to email either, and not all of my emails always go through.
Yeah, we were talking about
Some of
that.
I don't
I was
know what's
getting some,
happened
but I
over the
wasn't
past
getting
two.
all of
Well,
them.
I couldn't even send the zip folder. Now,
Right.
whether or not I was doing it right, that's a completely different. I mean, how do you just attach? I just attached it. So a lot of my
Yes.
stuff
So
wasn't.
it could be just
getting sent.
how your system is set up, so that when you are adding stuff together, if it's large enough, it'll zip it automatically.
Yeah.
And then it won't send. So for example, and the other thing you have to look at is your mailbox size. So your mailbox only may allow you to do things of a certain size. I know I'm approaching that, so I have to go back through and
I
actually
don't
pull
even
stuff from
know
many
if
years
it's
ago.
Send emails and
The batting cage quote was like too big of a file, so it was putting it like at the top. So
but Sheila had got your, and I was in her office when it came in, and I went down, and it wasn't in my inbox. But she
okay.
got it, and it didn't
The
come in,
email
and we
that I-
refreshed
well,
a couple of times.
I
so it
emailed
didn't
both
come
of
in.
you guys. I
Yeah.
know he got it.
Yeah,
The
but I
email
didn't.
that I emailed him, I emailed to both of you.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, so.
So again, I'll do the distribution list. That's easy. I'll actually touch base with Joe Kesey tomorrow. It's actually Joe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Does you know Joe? So I'll reach out to Joe Kesey tomorrow and we'll talk about a distribution list for this. What I do want to make sure I have from each of you then is a good email.
Hey.
Hey, Brian, how are you? Come on in.
A
Have
couple
a
extra sheets.
uh,
And then we can
anywhere
get
you
started.
like. Any-
Wherever you want to be comfortable.
Yes.
Except for that chair.
So again, I'll do the distribution list. I just want to make sure I have a good email, and I will also send the multiple emails. That's the other advantage. So if you want it to go to both a business and a personal email, I can set it up that way. I just need to know what emails you want.
So
So
we need to send you an email.
correct.
Okay, got it.
Email or emails that you want that on, and then I'll get that. So we're talking about a distribution list. Basically, I'll create a Parks and Rec's email, if you will, but it'll be really a distribution list. Be a link on our website then as well to do that. So I'll set that up that way.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. It is, who is our record keeper for the evening? Is that Paula?
6:01.
6:01.
All right.
Do I need to go down through the roll call?
You can. You know who's here. but-
Everybody's present.
Yeah.
And accounting for.
Yep, and again, for those watching, we have an opening, so please join the board.
We do.
And our news board member, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, sure, I'm Brian Langman.
Have you met Mr. Butler? Yep. Good.
All right. It's a special meeting, not on our quarterly schedule. We are here to discuss the batting cages. Lisa, you had gotten the quotes together. Do you wanna talk about them briefly?
Sure. Yeah. Did you see in the packet here? I showed you guys that we were here last time. Not last time, last meeting, and we kind of saw everything. Greg put together a cost comparison sheet where it broke down all the different structures that we found. The one quote was from New Holland Chain Link, and I don't know if that's in. Did that one get in here?
It did, I see, you have
Okay, yeah.
$600.
So, what we were thinking from the last meeting was so we have the chain link and then we have a couple other batting cage structures that we were looking at. I think there were like
The
3
summary,
different,
right?
yeah,
This
yeah.
is the summary, which was,
Yeah, the Cimarron cage, the Thumper cage, and the New Holland chain link cage. So those were the 3 options that we kind of came up with.
Right.
Greg also helped kind of put everything together too, with the price of it.
And from everything that you provided, it looked like the Cimarron cage was the most complete and the sturdiest. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I mean, it had really good reviews. It wasn't the most expensive cage. They go up to like $20,000, you know. So we're kind of looking at what we maybe want to spend. I don't know. For New Holland, it was $66. So I mean, there are other ones that are. I mean, there are other cages that are $200 up to like $20,000. So we figured this was a good. I mean, if anyone has other ideas.
And recall, on your open space fees right now, you have a little over 30,000 in there, so you have room to purchase any one of these options. The question would be, what is it you'd like to do, and then what do I take back to the board for this?
Right.
What do you guys think?
So a couple things. First of all, I want to comment that the net is free, which is great. That comes from Fight and Phil's, I think, Margaret fixed?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Who I met, which is
Yeah.
great. So the net is not expensive, and she got it from Fight and Phil's, so it's a huge cost savings.
Yeah,
which I
they
think is
did.
awesome as far as that goes. We discussed a couple things. Was it should be sturdy and should be not permanent. Is the thinking, right? So batting cages come, and thanks Lisa for your research, in either 1.5 inch or 2 inch. We felt like a 2 inch galvanized is a better deal because it's going to last longer.
Yeah.
Options to put in the ground are sleeves or concrete footers. So with the sleeves, it can be removed for winter and not be out there the whole time. And should hopefully eliminate anyone that comes, I hate to say it, but
Theoretically,
Theoretically,
yeah, we can put it,
yeah.
in the garage and keep it.
Minimize temptation
right.
for issues.
Right. So, again, thanks Lisa for the research. We all kind of,
very
we all felt
comprehensive.
like you go for the 2 inch. We don't need the fancy powder coating. That's a little, it's nice, but we felt like it wasn't a need to have.
Yeah.
And you certainly correct me if I'm wrong. But the thicker style and the sleeves was the best feeling among the group that would fit best for that baseball field.
and it's the size that fits the net that we have, which is what the
Yeah.
important thing is to find, because the net was free.
Mhm.
And so we wanted to meet the needs. Yeah, I mean, and it's not the most expensive, as Lisa and Jeff has said. I mean, we're trying to be fiscally responsible, but find something that is sturdy, stable, but removable when we need to remove it for something in the future. So it's both present and future and fiscally appropriate.
Just had a couple of questions for you, Lisa. I know with all these options, we haven't had a chance to talk a whole lot.
Okay.
What do you need from the township as far as installation is concerned? So we talked about the sleeves, we talked about concrete footers. If we were to put in sleeves, is that something the township helps with, or is that something that's quoted in the price here, that they're doing those sleeves for us in the build-up and construction?
Well, in the groundwork. So if we don't go with the New Holland, if we go with the Cimarron with the, the 2 inch one with the sleeves and everything, that's all going to be done by volunteers. Like that's what we were
The
gonna.
sleeving, they're gonna bring us the materials and we're gonna put it together.
Yeah, like so if we get everything, they'll drop it in one pallet, and it either comes now. Everything for the groundwork we'll have to get together ourselves, which that would be the cement, the wood frame. I think you guys talked about gravel, like putting gravel in. Like, is that something that we want to do as well?
Yeah, I think so. Because
Yeah.
that would be at least a base layer to get going.
Yeah,
Because I believe the baseball team said without that, it's kind of just a mess.
yeah,
Things are quite a mess.
it will be a mess, yeah.
It won't take long. How long is it?
How long?
How long
70
is it?
feet.
70 feet.
Yeah, so we also need to go out and just, figure a place like where exactly to put it. It's 14 by 14 by 70.
And we gravel the entire thing in there? Or
Probably not the whole- at least where we were talking about at least where they're hitting.
heading from. Okay, so
Right.
a small hitting pad was where they.
Right. So the question that's a great question back to you is from a township standpoint, what are options for using maintenance to help with this, or is your gravel available? What's your feedback on what?
I'd have to talk to the Barry about the gravel available, and we could probably locate some gravel. I know we have some gravel here that we might be able to reuse. I don't know what the size of that is. That's going to have an impact. Whether that's 2B, 1B, modified, all those things will have an impact. So I'll have to check with Barry on stone. But again, I think we can source that. The work we're going to have to figure out in between our projects.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's okay. And I think
We're at a good time because we're in that transition phase between our winter operations and moving into the summer where we really start the paving and those paving projects and oil and chip and all that takes up a lot of time. Those guys go out and prep those roads for that. So that runs really from June into the August, September timeframe, and sometimes into October. So I think the question would be, what it might take for us to put this up. How many poles, how many sleeves do we have to sink? How far do they have to be in the ground?
Well, that's all.
Is that in?
That's in. I have those notes.
Okay.
So we'll need roughly.
And I'm thinking these are PVC sleeves,
Metal.
metal
Yeah.
sleeves.
All the galvanized metal.
Oh no, I'm talking about the sleeves themselves. Or they?
Ground
Yeah.
sleeve. It just says ground sleeves. 2-inch frame with ground sleeves.
Oh, with it has the ground sleeves with it.
It comes.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes with.
Okay, so it comes whatever they're
It
producing,
comes
whether that's
with
PVC
yeah.
or
Yeah. I
galvanized.
think it's I'm not even.
I think they said it was the quote was complete.
Yeah.
It was basically.
So the
Like
only thing
there
we're
were
looking for is
three
the extra
separate-
stone. I was just
Right,
wondering.
it's just the groundwork. So
Okay.
the stone, but we also have the training mat on here. Are we putting stone under the training mat?
No, we.
Um,
So as far as the stone, this is what we figured for that stuff won't come with the.
How much?
Right.
The
Yeah, I
only
see
thing
that
that the
front.
frame comes with would be the actual frame, the ground sleeves that we put in the ground. Now we would have to get the wood frame to build it around, and then so this is what he has: rebar, wood
Okay.
frame built on site. Okay, so rebar to anchor down. He has the listing of how much we'll need
He
and
thinks-
a rough estimate of how much. And then the gravel, to answer your question about
I
that,
see.
roughly 11 cubic yards
Oh, you
for a
must be
4-inch
quarter-inch
base.
millings. Okay.
Quarter
So
inch
it's-
milling.
Okay. So it's
No, I've never set up a batting cage before, so I'm going with whatever you guys think is what we should
Right.
do. And visiting other batting cages,
Right.
The reason, oh yes. The reason I had the padding in here was to help. Well, that kind of came with the package that I asked him to include. But
Right.
that padding that you see, the batter's mat, helps it to not get muddy.
Right.
Since
And
we
the
are putting,
erosion.
that's what I was thinking before. But even with the stone, like it'll just be a good, put the stone down and then you put the mat over top.
Correct.
So they
And
don't
so
drench.
what you're really looking at,
Yeah.
in that case, I would probably use 1B or 2B modified, because then you could put that over top of that. You build a wood frame,
Yeah.
put your modified down, which compacts it. It's
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
still something that will drain, but then you put your mat on top of that, and then you would have that. So
yes.
Right, yeah.
That's one of the
So-
things we learned at the conference. How important
Perfect.
drainage is.
oh, that's huge. So and then we also get. I have some landscape matting. That's really. That's nothing. You put some of that landscape matting down between the matting and the stone,
Right.
and then you'd have a really good surface, and that'd be weed free as well.
Okay.
All right. So your total cost then, when we look at the summary here, is going to include everything. And what I would recommend, we build in a 10% cost overrun on any one of these options. Okay,
Mhm.
so for your first one, I'd say you build in a 10% cost overrun just to be on the safe side. I'd probably ask for 46, somewhere in that range, $4,600, because you may have some things that are a little bit more expensive than
Yeah,
your
yeah.
expectations.
Yeah.
So you want a little bit of room in there. You know, and if we come in under that, that's great, but again, we usually presume a 10% cost overrun on a number of things.
Yeah.
Well, should we just do a nice round number of 5,000?
You could, that would give you really any of your first two options, and then whatever you don't use, you don't use.
Right. I mean, I would hate to have to keep coming back and forth for $100 or $200 difference.
So now the cage on the batting cost comparison summary, that is just the cage. There's a separate
Oh, okay,
quote.
so there's a
Yeah,
second
no,
one. I
that's,
see.
no, that's fine.
Got it.
This
That's fine.
quote here, which that one is 25. This one they were quoting us 35. That's the cage, and the L net for inside, the hangers, of course, everything that comes with it, the hitting mat and the backstop. So that was an extra 20. No wait, why is that 25? I thought that was 20. It's 20. I thought that one was 20.
Okay, so this first one,
Shipping.
It was 35. Yeah.
It was 35.
Yeah.
So
So because they added the $499 and the 140.
oh, I see what you had. So
Yeah.
you have the additional things here on the back was 35, not the 29 you're showing here.
Yeah.
Your
Now we
groundwork.
could get all that other stuff separately.
Well,
I think I was looking.
then if I'm looking at that, honestly, if I were, so you have things that's slightly different between the two, the Cimarron. Your base quote looks like it was the 2949 or 2950, is that correct?
Yeah.
They're quoting.
I'm gonna. I mean, you have to assume. So one of the other things that was discussed at the Parks and Rec conference was the difference between buying equipment that is meant for the usage that we're applying it, and buying equipment like you don't go buy swings at Lowe's.
Yeah.
You go buy swings from the playground manufacturers because they're made for that usage. So I would guess that where we do have, like you provided the quote off of
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah.
Yes, it's half the price.
Yes, it's from Amazon.
But we don't know our quality.
Yeah.
Cimarron's gonna give us a quality
Yeah.
mat. So I'd almost say let's do the all-inclusive Cimarron quote with the groundwork.
So where does that bring you in at?
36 plus another 1,200 brings us in at 48.
Right.
Plus 10%, it's 5,300 roughly.
Give yourself a little bit more room in there, I'd say 55, and you should be in a good ballpark to, no pun intended, to wrap the project up. And it does
Well,
work.
I agree with Ms. Rimby because this Cimarron Sports is putting in the hitting mat and whatnot, which is a little more than the cheap Amazon that was on this to get to the 40-some hundred at. You know what I'm saying? So it makes more sense to me.
Alright, do we want to take a vote for recommendation? Or are we gonna?
Jeff
would we
is
like-
pushing numbers over.
Just
Checking
on,
my math.
Doing a secondary, Joe, let's make sure we're on the
Let's,
same page.
yes.
Yeah.
5280.
Right. That's easy.
It's okay.
I'll tell you.
Double checks are good.
Right, so 10% was 5380, 53, so 52 should put us right in the right area.
if you went for 55, then we just, that's what I would present to the board, would be 55. And then they'll have the final decision on whether or not to approve or to come back. They could grant you more if they wanted to as well, and it's up to them. But at least we now have a ballpark.
So make
So
the
we
motion. We need a motion.
Move to recommend to the board that we spend $5,500 or request for them to approve to spend $5,500 for said batting cage for our community.
And do we need a second?
I'll say it.
Alright. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. I think it's going to be a really great addition for all our ball teams that use the field.
Lisa, I know you put this together. If you would do me a favor, if you could take this quote, the the groundwork, and then the 10%, we'll have the 10% in.
Okay.
And then I'll present that as the package to the board. We can reference the other two. I mean, they're all roughly within
Yeah.
the same framework anyways, because they're all roughly the same price, other than the New Holland chain link that was significantly more expensive.
Alright. Jeff, do you have anything? I know you had quote papers that you brought with. Anything else to
Oh, yeah.
go
So-
over before we
Yeah, just real quick, so,
call the meeting?
discussed before we started that, I talked to you too, that it's important to start tracking and documenting in one spot. Not just for our own needs, but to say Rich has a question, the board has a question, right, as far as that goes. So we're gonna create the shared drive. This document I created is the first pass of, I'm trying to narrow it down just to what this year we can, you know, do. And then track, you know, like a 3-year, 7-year plan. It's kind of like we talked about before, right? So let's think far ahead. Mrs. Remy and I attended the Pennsylvania Recreation Parks Conference last week. Thank you again to the board. I was saying thank Tim, but Tim, I'll take the weeks back. We learned a ton, and we'll on the next meeting we'll delve into that. It helps us really
Grant
get
process.
lots of processes. I'll tackle the grant side. You're tackling the playground side. We'll find something for you. We'll throw something to yours too. So we're trying to still decompress from.
Lisa's really good at quotes.
So that's it. So pretty much.
Yeah.
Next step is Mr. Howard will create this. We have to tell him an email we want to use. So create a chain, an email account for
Distribution
Parks and Rec,
list.
which is great. I'll create the share drive and go as far as that goes. Oh, and to the board, Mr. Bittler. Just say to the board, thank you again for allowing us to go to the Parks and Rec meeting last week.
Super helpful.
Super helpful. We
That was the
learned.
16th through the 19th or something.
Yep. We learned more than we could ever know. We networked with Exeter, with Muhlenberg, with West Reading. We met Parks and we met DCNR. We met our local grants rep. So again, very appreciative of investing in the Parks and Rec board to really take the next step in what's next for the park. So really appreciate the board's effort on that. That's very appreciated.
Well,
Very helpful. Yes.
That's what I had.
Alright. Anything else for tonight?
The only other thing I want to mention to you, we did have an issue out at the park. Somebody was able to break into our building and cause some damage, internal damage, back in our pump room. We're working through doing the replacement repair on that. Our public works team's already been out there looking at it, so one of the things that may delay a little bit is the water usage, because I do need to talk to DEP. And there's a specific, I believe they actually pulled apart the UV light system as well, if I'm not mistaken. Again. So we had one replaced already, so we're gonna have to look at that. Again, I'll get back with you. I will send you an email. I just did not, our public works supervisor or crew leader's been out doing some other things, so as soon as he and I can sit down and kind of deconflict our schedules, we'll give you something that says, hey, here's where we're at and what it's gonna cost. That will not come out of open space fees. That's building maintenance, so just so you're aware of it. Just want you to be aware of it.
Is there any insurance that goes with it then?
I'll have to look at that. And police are still investigating as well, so that'll be something that'll,
The net is still there, right?
as far as I know. Kind of heavy net, if I recall, that was
Otherwise,
kind of
it's
heavy. That was
very
kind of,
heavy.
yeah.
Well, maybe
Finish
it's
it.
like 4 guys to get that. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
all right.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted to share with you. It's again, it's,
Oh man.
That's a shame. That really is.
well, and I think one of the issues is where we think they may have gained access was out of use, so we're working on that as well to look at our overview. All right?
Alright. Anything else? If not, if we can have a motion to adjourn
Okay, I'll motion to adjourn.
and a second,
Second.
6:21.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, team.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yep, thanks for watching.
We still have vacancy.
So now what's our time frame?
So once